For being here, and especially to thank all of my colleagues and leaders in the community for helping us get to this point of filing legislation with the Boston City Council at the city level to address an issue that has been raised as a serious concern on our streets and for safety and quality of life. Today we're here with partners in elected office, City Councilor Sharon Durkin and State Representative Jay Livingstone, partners in community, including Meg Mainzer-Cohen, president of the Back Bay Association, and leadership across our city departments, Commissioner Michael Cox from the Boston Police Department, Chief Yasha Franklin Hodge of our Streets Cabinet, Chief Brianna Malore of our Community Engagement Cabinet, Aid Strong Commissioner Emily Shea. Let me see if I missed anyone. Okay, I got everyone. Each one of these departments, alongside our community partners and government at all levels, plays a critical role in making Boston a home for everyone. All of these teams and everyone here is out in our neighborhoods every day, making sure that what's top of mind for our residents is at the top of the agenda in City Hall as well. And what we've been hearing from residents all over the city is that delivery drivers on mopeds and scooters have been creating dangerous conditions on our roads. In the past year, we've received more than 100 311 reports from residents about mopeds running red lights, riding on sidewalks, weaving in and out of traffic, and going the wrong way down one-way roads, speeding down residential streets, and causing collisions. These practices aren't just against the law, they put our residents' lives at risk. It's not safe for anyone. The delivery drivers, pedestrians, cyclists, other vehicles on the road, and anyone else trying to get around our city. We're very proud that Boston is the safest major city in America. And the work that it takes to make that happen across every department and agency, across every neighborhood, in partnership with our residents, means not only working to deter crime, but actively create opportunities and expand access to resources that make communities safe. True safety is about more than just addressing violence. It's also ensuring that everyone can move around our city knowing that everyone on the road is driving safely, legally, and responsibly. That's why Commissioner Cox and Chief Franklin Hodge sent a letter to the companies, the executives at DoorDash, Grubhub, and Uber Eats several months ago, calling for them to address the use of unregistered vehicles on their platforms. It's why the Boston Police Department has stepped up enforcement on traffic violations. And it's why today we're filing an ordinance with the City Council that will require food delivery platforms to obtain a permit from our Transportation Department. To qualify for this permit, companies like DoorDash, Grubhub, and Uber Eats will have to meet two key requirements. First, they'll need liability insurance coverage for all their delivery drivers, so that residents and drivers are protected in the event of a collision. And second, food delivery platforms will be required to provide the city with data on these deliveries, including the types of vehicles drivers are using, which neighborhoods see the highest demand, and crucially, drivers' speeds. With a deeper understanding of where deliveries are concentrated, what vehicles are being used, and how fast drivers are traveling, the city will be able to improve roadway design, better enforce traffic laws, and ensure that our streets stay safe for everyone. So I want to thank everyone here for their work in addressing this issue. I know you'll hear in a little bit from our state representative as well, but I want to thank Rep. Livingstone for his leadership at the state level, pushing for the types of regulations across all of our communities that really enhance and complement, in many ways mirror, what we're trying to do here today at the city level. We've seen tremendous success when the public sector and the private sector come together for the safety of our residents. We saw it in the early regulations around TNCs, and when Uber and Lyft were just new to our streets, having those parameters to share data, to track, and to get the companies to take action on the vast information they already have on the behavior of their employees and their drivers, that directly translates into safety on our roadways in our neighborhoods. We're trying to do the same thing here because these companies already know everything about where their delivery drivers are going, with the information they have from the apps on the phones of their drivers, which is how they pick up the orders, how they deliver them, how they report the different drop-offs that they're making. The companies already have the information within their systems of who is driving the wrong way, of the unsafe behaviors that are taking place. This will help ensure that we are getting that into oversight of our public sector, and that the city and hopefully the state will be able to partner together on making sure that we're then creating economic opportunity in a way that actually enhances quality of life in our neighborhoods. Okay, before I pass it on, otra vez en español. Buenos días y gracias a todos. Lo que hemos escuchado de los residentes en toda la ciudad es que los conductores de reparto en bicimotos están creando condiciones peligrosas en nuestras carreteras. El año pasado, de parte de la ciudad, recibimos más de 100 reportes de 311 de residentes sobre bicimotos que se corrían semáforos en rojo, manejaban en las aceras, zigzagueando dentro y fuera del tráfico y yendo en sentido contrario en carreteras de un camino, acelerando por calles residenciales y provocando colisiones. Estas prácticas no solamente son contra la ley, sino que ponen en riesgo la vida de nuestros residentes. Boston es la ciudad grande más segura en los Estados Unidos, pero la verdadera seguridad va más allá de simplemente llamar atención a la violencia. También se extiende a garantizar que nuestros vecinos pueden moverse en la ciudad sabiendo que todos en las calles conducen de manera segura, legal y responsable. Es por eso que hoy presentamos una ordenanza ante el Consejo Municipal que requerirá que las plataformas que reparten comida obtengan un permiso de nuestro Departamento de Transporte al nivel municipal. Para calificar para un permiso, compañías como DoorDash, Grubhub y Uber Eats tendrán que cumplir 2 requisitos. Primero, necesitarán cobertura de seguro de responsabilidad para todos sus repartidores. Y segundo, las plataformas que reparten comida tendrán que compartir datos sobre estas entregas con la ciudad, con una comprensión más profunda de dónde se concentran esas entregas, qué vehículos se utilizan y qué tan rápido manejan los conductores. Podremos mejorar el diseño de las carreteras, hacer cumplir mejor las leyes de tránsito y garantizar que nuestras calles sean seguras para todos. Gracias, and thank you so much, everyone, for your collaboration in this. So I'll just read the order of the next speakers, and everyone can kind of flag it for the next person based on the order taped up here. Next is Chief Yasha Franklin Hodge, then Commissioner Michael Cox, Commissioner Emily Shea, President of the Back Bay Association, Meg Mainzer-Cohen, Councilor Sharon Durkin, and then Rep. Jay Livingstone.
Thank you, Mayor Wu, and good morning, everyone. I am Yasha Franklin Hodge, and I serve as Chief of Streets for the City of Boston. Food delivery apps support restaurants and provide convenience to residents. However, their explosive and unregulated growth in recent years has generated unintended consequences and created safety concerns on our streets. We hear from people in nearly every neighborhood that the impacts of delivery services are negatively affecting quality of life, with unsafe driving, illegal parking, and increasing congestion. This past summer, with our colleagues at the Boston Police Department, we launched an education and enforcement campaign to inform delivery drivers about their responsibilities to register two-wheeled vehicles and to follow the rules of the road. We have seen better adherence to those requirements, and the city has followed through with increased enforcement. But delivery companies need to step up and do their part. Safety on our streets is not only the responsibility of individual drivers, but also the platforms who recruit and dispatch thousands of people to make deliveries, usually with little or no safety training and operating under a system of financial incentives that encourages speed above all else. This ordinance creates an insurance requirement that establishes a business incentive for these companies to focus more on safety, not just profit. Companies will be required to provide coverage that offers recourse to anyone injured in a crash with a delivery driver, regardless of the type of vehicle they are operating or the insurance status of that driver. We hope that this will encourage delivery companies to use the ample data that they already collect about the operations of their drivers to provide some self-enforcement of the rules of the road and to identify people who are driving in ways that put others in harm's way. This ordinance also creates a data sharing requirement that will provide us a critical tool to identify and address safety and congestion impacts. Right now, without data, we are forced to react to manage delivery hotspots after problems occur and when frustrated residents reach out to the city for help. Under this ordinance, the companies will share basic data, such as the types of vehicles used to complete deliveries, when and where restaurants experience the highest number of orders, how quickly trips are completed, and how long vehicles idle on our streets. Access to this information will allow us to proactively adjust parking regulation, target enforcement, and work with restaurants to minimize negative impacts of delivery. The data required does not identify customers or drivers. Rather, it provides us a basic window into the operation of an industry that puts tens, if not hundreds of millions of miles on Boston streets every single year. Only the big technology companies that operate on-demand food delivery apps are subject to this ordinance. Local restaurants who offer their own delivery and traditional shipping companies like UPS or FedEx are not subject to these new rules. Our goal at the Streets Cabinet is simple: help people move safely and easily wherever they need to go, however they choose to travel. The widespread problems caused by the unregulated growth of app-based delivery have made our streets less safe and made it harder to get around our city. Food delivery apps bring business and convenience benefits to Boston. However, these benefits do not have to come at the expense of public safety and well-functioning roads. They do not have to come at the expense of people feeling safe walking in their neighborhoods. The price of convenience cannot be fear, injury, and chaos on our streets. The common sense regulations that we are proposing can preserve the benefits of food delivery while helping keep our streets safe and moving. I thank the mayor for her leadership in taking action on this issue, and I also thank my colleagues for the work that they have done to develop this ordinance and to address the concerns that so many constituents have raised to us. We look forward to working with the City Council to make this proposal a reality and our partners at the state legislature to look at state-level action. Thank you very much, and I will turn it over to Commissioner Cox.
Thank you. You know, we all have a role to play, particularly when it comes to improving safety and quality of life in our neighborhoods. As a community, we're safer and stronger when we all partner in working together, and that includes the business community. We're asking the corporations to do their part in helping keep pedestrians and drivers safe in our city. Those people that I'm referring to that we want to keep safe includes the drivers themselves who are making these deliveries for these large companies. This industry is growing, and to ensure public safety is factored into the growth, it's wise to set expectations and regulations to promote good, safe operations. As we continue to always support the city and providing great public safety, we just want to remind folks of their responsibility, particularly even the corporations in our city, and making sure that people abide by our rules and policies, because it's good for them, it's good for the city, and we're going to do all we can to make sure that we continue to be a safe place. Up next is Commissioner Shea. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. My name is Emily Shea, and I'm the Age Strong Commissioner for the City of Boston. I have the privilege of working on behalf of the mayor and our 130,000 older residents to make sure that Boston is a home for everyone. My team and I spend a lot of time in the community listening directly to our older residents. This past fall, we collected over 1,500 surveys and held 22 focus groups to identify their concerns. Now we're hosting listening sessions in every neighborhood to ensure that our work reflects what truly matters to them, creating a city where we all can not only live well today, but also age well with our family, our friends, and our neighbors. Our residents have told us that this means having the right programs and services, as well as the right public infrastructure, streets, sidewalks, parks, public spaces, in order to keep people active, engaged, and safe. We have an amazing city staff who works hard every day to make sure that our sidewalks are walkable, curb cuts are accessible, and crosswalks help everyone get safely across the street. As you've heard today, this ordinance adds another important tool in our toolbox. It is critical that whether you're 8 years old or 98, whether you're in a car, on a bike, or on foot, that you can safely move around our city. I look forward to working with the team here, our local businesses, and all of our residents to continue to make Boston a city that works for people of all ages. Now, please welcome Meg Mazer-Cohen, President of the Back Bay Association.
Good morning. I'm Meg Mazer-Cohen, President of the Back Bay Association, and it's a real privilege to be here. We think about the days when we would be sitting at home on the couch saying, wouldn't it be great if someone could bring us our burrito and our corn chips? Little do we know how successful an enterprise would be that would take off and literally transform the experience that people are having in our city. Our sidewalks are overwhelmed, our streets are overwhelmed. We're all really overwhelmed by the experience of trying to manage what is something that we thought was a good idea, but it turns out it's one that really needed smart, wise oversight. And in this case, some good regulation that is going to actually maybe put the genie back in the bottle and take more time for people to now think about not just getting the food to people's homes quickly, but also how they do it, who's impacted by it, how they can do so in a safe manner as well. I think the critical piece about having these companies required to have insurance is really going to transform what has been a dangerous situation, because there's been a lot of, unfortunately, not everybody, and people sometimes are working very hard at these jobs, but in many cases there can be fairly reckless behavior. So we also at the Back Bay Association have received a lot of complaints about this. We've been talking to the city about this, and we're really thrilled that the city has taken this, not just a sort of like small effort, is not making a small effort, but I think a really large durable one. So that's our thoughts from the Back Bay, and it's my privilege to introduce our City Councilor Sharon Durkin. Thank you so much.
So we're really grateful, I think a lot of us who live around here, who do this work, to see a mayor who is truly taking a lot of our concerns, to have a commissioner who is taking our concerns seriously. And I know we are all working in partnership at the City of Boston to deliver for our constituents. For far too long, third-party delivery platforms have operated as if rules don't apply to them. Their business models have prioritized speed and profit over safety and accountability, leaving residents, pedestrians, and even their own drivers to deal with the consequences of reckless and lawless behavior on our streets. But today, our mayor has offered a solution. As the chair of Planning, Development, and Transportation, I chaired a hearing months ago where I publicly asked for platforms to give detailed delivery data that we know that they collect to mitigate their impacts on our streets. I am really heartened to see that that is included in today's ordinance. Unsurprisingly, these companies have offered no transparency, and our request for them to self-regulate using such information has been neglected. The administration's ordinance today builds on that idea by requiring appropriate data reporting, making it impossible for these companies to continue hiding behind vague excuses and glib indifference. I'm thrilled to support Mayor Wu's common sense ordinance, and I'm excited for the City Council process because Boston has no obligation to cater to multi-billion-dollar companies and tech giants who refuse to play by the rules of the road. To those who might claim this proposal is too harsh on the delivery platforms, I invite them to spend an afternoon dodging mopeds in the Fenway or watching delivery drivers play chicken with pedestrians near Boylston Street. These reasonable permitting, insurance, and data sharing requirements are much needed step towards safer streets that we all deserve. And I want to give a shout out to my partner in service for the Back Bay, Rep. Jay Livingstone, who has been an incredible leader, and excited to welcome him here.
Thank you, Sharon. I'm Jay Livingstone. I'm the state representative for Back Bay and other downtown neighborhoods in Boston. And I'm so pleased to be here with Mayor Wu, where she's taken this important step. Years ago, the same type of situation existed that exists now with delivery drivers with respect to TNCs for people being delivered. And we created a system of data reporting similar to what they're creating that's available at the state and city level, and it's made such a difference. And I look forward to this moving through the city council, and I'll do what I can to move it through the state, to have the same type of result. Too often, I experience, yesterday, somebody almost hit me on the sidewalk on Dartmouth Street when I was walking with my kids to their Sunday basketball games. And it's incredibly dangerous what's happening. No one wants to stop delivery services. All we want is common sense solutions to work with delivery companies to create a safer situation, not only in the streets, but in the sidewalks, which I never thought I'd say about motorized vehicles. So I look forward to working with the mayor, and I really appreciate you taking this step today. Thank you.
Thank you. And I neglected to say at the very beginning, thank you so much to our interpreters for being here and for all that you do. So let's do questions on the ordinance from the podium for everyone here, and then if you have other topics, I'll do them off to the side afterwards and everyone can go inside. Nikki.
Yeah, so the question was how enforcement of this ordinance, what it will look like, and are there fines or fees for the companies? So the short answer is yes. Companies are required, if they want to operate a large food delivery platform in Boston, large being more than 1 million orders a year, they'll be required to get a permit from the city, and the conditions of insurance and data sharing are part of that permit requirement. Companies that operate without a permit are subject to ongoing fines related to the scale of their operations and potential legal action if they do not comply with the ordinance.
Some of the companies have reacted already. DoorDash, I saw they put out a release. One of the things that they had mentioned is they had been working with the city to try to resolve this issue. I guess I sort of want to get your sense of, how have they participated in a thoughtful way? Do they think they're trying to do this? And the other thing they claim is that, of course, if these ordinances go in place, it's just going to mean it's going to cost more for folks to get their food delivered.
So we appreciate the conversations that we have had to date with each one of these platforms. Again, we started several months ago with an information request and opened a dialogue and have spoken specifically about what regulation and oversight should look like as well. There are pieces and priorities that they shared with us that did inform how this ordinance and how the language of the legislation has been crafted. There are certain things that I think are probably more applicable to the state as well that they're in conversations with. At the end of the day, we know that this is a model that works because, as the rep said and as we've all experienced, the transformation, the evolution of the rideshare industry has come down a similar path where it was sort of a explosion of interest that led to some unintended consequences, as Meg was saying, and then with thoughtful oversight, we are still seeing these industries thrive. We're still seeing people able to access the services and benefit from them, but in a way that creates more safety and more order on the streets. This is a daily quality of life safety issue for our residents, and that's for every generation, but we especially hear it for our seniors and those who are on foot, just trying to go about their daily lives and enjoy the neighborhoods that they live in. If we were here at this location, probably a couple hours later, closer to lunchtime, we would get a very clear sense as well of just the nature of how this happens. That is why we've made specific decisions here, not to make this about the individual drivers, not to put the entire burden of responsibility on many drivers who are just trying to earn a living and follow the rules that, or the conditions that the delivery companies have put on them, that they need to execute on a certain number of orders per hour, that they only get a certain types of incentives that really encourage them to get that order there as quickly as possible, no matter what the consequences for safety in between. These platforms already have the information. They already should be operating with insurance protection for everyone. So we're just asking them to do to do and share what is already being collected and what is already part of the framework of how a business operates as a good neighbor within the city of Boston.
What about the enforcement on the street as far as the police and all these violations with no pads of order?
So outside of the this ordinance, we will be enforcing all speeders and things of that nature, throughout the city. It is something that we probably haven't done more so recently, but certainly as the weather gets better, you will probably see a lot more enforcement in all neighborhoods to actually increase public safety, particularly pedestrian safety.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.